From the bowling capital of the world, America's #1 bowling show. Championship Bowling. From the Firestone Bowlorama in Akron, Ohio, it's Championship Bowling. Hello, everybody. I'm Fred Wolf, and we have two more of our 24 of the world's greatest professional bowlers in match game competition, competing for a prize fund of some $70,000. Followed, of course, by Championship Bowling's World Series. We'll tell you more about that later. And we have two good boys going for you again this week. Jerry McCoy from Fort Worth, Texas, and the little fella from Detroit, George Howard. With us again here, of course, Bill Bonetta. Bill looks like the little guy against a little bigger guy. Not too big, is he, Jerry?
No, but Georgie, I think, would like to regain the stroke, and gave him a terrific year a couple of years ago, and McCoy's made a little change in his game to improve his line, and it should prove interesting again.
Our statistician here, sitting to my left, one of our alternates, Sam Baca, who is waiting to get in here. Sam, you're doing a great job with that score sheet, but I think you'd rather be out there, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I think so.
Now let's meet the two boys. Jerry McCoy, Fort Worth, Texas. Welcome. This is your first competition on Championship Bowling, isn't it?
Yes.
And looking forward to this, I presume?
Oh, yes.
Well, we're not making it easy for you. We got a little fella here who's been around for a long time. George Howard, welcome to Akron, Ohio. How do you feel this week?
Well, right now I feel all right, but things might change in a few minutes.
How's the practice been going for both of you?
It's pretty fair for me the last couple of times out here, but you never know, Freddie, what's going to happen if your timing is right.
Of course, you're not going to be able to follow Jerry's line, are you?
I hope I don't. Gee whiz.
Jerry, of course, goes from the left side. How do you find these lanes from the left side, Jerry?
Well, I didn't hit him too good in practice.
You didn't hit him too good.
Just hope something will work loose.
That's usually a bad sign, George.
Bad sign for me.
Bad sign for you, yes. We'll be ready to go here with the first game of 3 on Championship Bowling from Akron, Ohio, in just a moment. It's Jerry McCoy from Fort Worth, Texas, winning the toss, electing to start on the left side. All games starting on the left. And we have a left-hander. Oh, that one got away. He may get up there anyway, and he leaves himself the 3 and the 5. Well, Bill, we go from the right side and the left side this week.
Yes, we do, and it's happened many times in Championship Bowling. We noticed that the first ball is really the roughest one to roll, and actually didn't roll that when he bounced it.
Well, when director Sid Gold says go, a man has to be ready to go, and sometimes they're a little surprised.
You get away with the mark, you feel pretty late.
3-5, got to cover. He does. So for Howard, a spare in the first frame. Correction for Jerry McCoy, the spare. And we look at George Howard. 110 pounds, wringing wet. He's put on a couple of pounds since last year. We had him checked in at 108. He'll have to go on a diet. A 10-pin. George looks like he's going to try that inside angle. At least he did here in the first frame.
This George is a stroker, and if he's on target, he can hit the pocket from almost any line. We've watched him for many years, and George is a smooth stroker.
Of course, that inside angle hasn't been too successful here at the Firestone Bowlorama. Let's see how long he stays there. There's the cover. He has the spare. So we're into the second frame. Both boys feeling them out here. McCoy dropping his first one, but covering his spare, the 3-5, as Howard, leaving the 10, moves to the left. I know somebody's going to be asking, Mother will probably be asking Dad, why is he wiping his hand on the sole of his shoe, Bill? So you better explain that.
Well, that's so it gets a secure grip. Some of the boys like the dirt to get a little traction on a finger grip.
There's a solid 7-pin, and George is not sure yet, but it's there. Looks like he strapped that one.
Yes, he strapped that one really quite well. I'm sure that if George leaves a few taps here, he may go to an alternate angle. These boys are well prepared. If their initial angle doesn't work, they go to a secondary or alternate angle.
Well, now, leaving a 10-pin 2 or 3 times, would you change your angle, even though you leave the 10-pin on the pocket hook?
Maybe 4 or 5. Maybe not 2 or 3, but if they continue to leave the pin, you'd have to change.
Jerry McCoy, he's done a lot of things with that left arm. 1964, his first year on the tour as a professional bowler, and he was named the Sporting News PBA Rookie of the Year. He won the Seattle Open, was runner-up at Mobile and New Orleans. His first competition on championship bowling. So we'll be calling some of his leaves from the left-hander side, which sometimes get us a little confused. Instead of the 2-5, it was a 3-6. The cover done very easily. How would you compare McCoy's ball, Bill, with Bill Allen's?
Jerry informed me before the show that he has been attempting to cut down the size of his hook to enable him to hit the pocket more consistently. He said this is really going to be his first trial under fire. And Billy Allen, of course, has a sweeping curve type of ball. Jerry has more of a curve hook, a sharper break at the end.
There's another 7-pin, and McCoy playing the first diamond on the left side. That ball going right over the first diamond, Bill.
Most left-handers seem to use that first diamond, and very effectively. Just a few right-handers have lately attempted to go out that far.
There's the cover. With that big rounder, you'd think that 7-pin would be a very difficult shot for Jerry.
He looked at ease in each spare conversion there. Well, I think if we start striking here, we'll see a whole string of strikes.
Georgie Howard, they call him Peanuts, they call him the Sliver, or the Wisp of the bowling world. George Parton Howard. He's in there again, and that's 3. So Howard has been in the pocket all 3 frames, leaving a 10, a 7, picking up his first strike. In the third, it's the first strike of the match. Another 10-pin. That ball didn't seem to finish. It just hung right there in the 1-3 pocket, and in between her, Bill, it is so difficult to carry.
That's the key to success. If you can carry that in between her, usually it adds 40, 50 pins to your 3-game score.
Nice and easy to cover. So it's 1938 as McCoy moves in on the spare. Howard is 59 with a spare in the 4th. Right over the first diamond. Gets there and carries. Oh, that 7-pin was just lifted right out of there that time, Bill. Great action. Here's McCoy's first opportunity for the double. Howard left a good 10-pin. We're in the 5th. That'll have to hurry. Jerry practically walked away from that one. He was around the first time, and I believe he lost his line entirely.
Yeah, he was off stride there.
So with a conversion here, the margin will only be 1 pin as we reach the 5th frame of the first game of 3 on championship bowling from Akron, Ohio. $70,000 in prizes. McCoy covers the spare, and he had to hurry with that one. Howard moving in on the right. Georgie's been in that pocket 4 straight frames. He's carried 1 strike. Too high, the 4-pin. A little tight all the way, but he held that line.
he was inside of his target, but he almost got away with it.
We're at the end of 5 in the first game of 3, and we are a dead heat. McCoy is 78 spare, and Howard is 78 spare. We're in the 6th frame of the first game. Both boys on spares. Howard reaches out, tries to hold the line, almost gets the 6, 7, 10, gets the 7 out of there and gets away with a wide open split. .610 is put away as McCoy will try it again. Jerry McCoy, Fort Worth, Texas. The Texas State Match Game champion in 1961. This fellow turned pro 1 year after that, qualified for the San Antonio, Texas Open, finished 18th, and decided that possibly the PBA might be something worthwhile, and he's been doing very well ever since. Didn't get there, and McCoy now has been short for the last 2 frames.
Well, in many cases, you might be a little bit better off playing it light to start with in the early frames of the first game and work the adjustment from there. Most of the trouble seems to be high on the hit pin.
The 3-5-6, the 2-4-5 for the right-hander. Here it comes. And he picks it up for the spares. So there's only 1 pin now. Howard out in front. By 1 pin, we go into the 7th. You know, recently we've been asked, in fact, we've been asked many times, why businessmen sponsor bowling teams. Well, frankly, it's because they feel it's good business. And when a businessman sponsors a bowling team or a league, he'll have a certain number of customers who are bowling on that team, like that, throwing strikes, and they'll be wearing shirts with the name of his business on their back. But more importantly, they tell their friends about it. And you'd be surprised over the years how popular the place of business has become. With some 39 million bowlers, there's a tremendous market of potential customers. That was for Mr. Businessman. It's a good business. We're in the 7th. Howard on a spare. Sets 1. He's there and he carries. So we go into the 8th. Both boys on strikes. We're in the 8th. Looking for our first double. They'll both get another crack out of it. Howard looked out. He turns away too high. 3-6-10 takes the 10 out. Well, he said something about kicking that one, Bill.
Yeah, it looks like he indicated that he cut it too short, which made him pull a little bit. There's his stroke.
There's the cover. Some of the non-bowlers, when a boy says he kicked it, I suppose they'll be wondering why they didn't see him really actually literally kick the ball. They'll do it with their hands.
Well, we call it kicking the ball or beefing the ball and strapping the ball and so on. Especially these newcomers today. They have all kinds of terminology.
There we are, the 7 pin out of there, the first double of the match. And McCoy really held that one a little tight. Bill, it looked like it might go high, but he seemed to set it beautifully. Going for 3.
No.
Doesn't get there, and again, he has the 1, 3, and 9. That's the second time he has been short of the head pin, leaving this combination. He almost missed it. The first time he shot at it. The ball finally cutting through, getting the 9 pin. So it's McCoy out in front, the margin 6 pins. We're in the 9th frame of the first game. There's the cover. So McCoy with a spare, Howard again now, trying for the first double. George Howard in the 9th is there, and he leaves the 10 pin again. So Howard has had 3 10 pins, a 4 pin, and a 7 pin, and 2 strikes in 9 frames, so he hasn't bowled too badly.
No, if he's able to keep the ball in the same zone for the next 2 games, law of averages will take care of him.
There's the spare. We go into the 10th frame, and the margin is 7 pins. McCoy is out in front. 162 spare. Howard is 155 spare. Four, 7. George didn't think much of that one either.
No, he didn't. I think he was trying to reach out a little further to keep the ball on a straighter line, and it didn't look like he had the confidence in the shot.
Spare in the 10th for the little fella from Detroit, the Motor City, George Howard, at 110 pounds. The count here will give him 193. This fella, in 30 games bowled on championship bowling, is averaging 212. His high series, 705. His high single game was 257. That'll have to hurry. Gets up there and he leaves another 10 pin. So that's 4 10 pins for Howard. The ball just not finishing, Bill, it seems, from here.
I think that was a test shot for George. He just let it out a little bit more and see what would happen if the ball would come back a little stronger at the end, maybe.
In other words, the boys will do that with a count ball in the 10th. Even if it's bad, they still would only lose 1 or 2 pins in counts.
It gives them some indication what to do the next game.
That'll have to move. McCoy's missed the head pin again. And he has the same leave, the 139, the 3rd time that Jerry's looked at this one. So the game is going to be very close. Howard without a double, McCoy with a double. And the margin can't be much more than 7 pins. Oh, look out. He's got it. Got that one down a little low.
Actually, with only 2 strikes for George Howard and 3 so far for McCoy, they have a good score, which shows that the average bowler should concentrate on his spares, and the strikes more or less will take care of themselves.
Well, that's the ball that McCoy is noted for, the fellow that can just tear them apart. So in the first game for Jerry McCoy, it's 199 for George Howard, 192. That's a 7-pin advantage for McCoy. Now, we'll be back for the second game of 3 on championship bowling from Akron, Ohio, the home of Firestone. It'll be George Howard starting the second game. Howard trails by 7 pins. McCoy with 199, Howard 192. Neither boys had an open frame. 1 double. McCoy has it. Howard throws, gets up there, gets the action he wants, kicks the 5-7 out, and George is happy with that one.
Yes, he may have learned something that he was looking for with that extra ball in the 10th frame of the first game.
Yeah, but when you see that 5-7 flying around up there, sometimes you can leave it too, Bill, can't you?
Well, as long as the ball's live or active, got a good chance to break it down.
Right through the middle, the 4-6 for McCoy, and that puts George Howard out in front. McCoy now moving to the left side. We're at the Firestone Bowlerama in Akron, Ohio. Fred Wolf, along with Bill Bonetta, our statistician, Sam Baca. Trying to get these boys started. They'll both be making another appearance. 2 appearances, total pins for 22 of our field. We'll be joined by Dick Weber, the National All-Star champion, and Billy Hardwick, the Tournament of Champions winner in the World Series of Bowling, which will conclude our series here in Akron, Ohio. Strike for McCoy as Howard now, with an opportunity to add 20 pins. He's got it. Well, I got the feel there that he wasn't sure of that one. He made a slight error, didn't he?
No,
he get away with it?
He was about 2 boards inside of his target, and he was real pleased when he saw the result. That goes back to that beautiful instinct he has. He's smiling now, and he may take advantage of it.
Well, he almost left a 5-7 here. At least he kicked it around. He may want to push this one up a bit.
Well,
Gotta hurry. Well, he touched it. One board somewhere. He's mumbling up there.
I have to give him credit for courage. He wants to get going, and he had a light hit in the first frame, scramble the pins, and try to duplicate the shot.
See those 3 white dots turning, but the ball didn't seem to want to make the move down there when it got near the pocket. All right, Bill, let's take a look now at the left-hander, Jerry McCoy, in slow motion. That's a double for McCoy. His second double. Howard has 1. Howard's still out in front, the margin. 3 pins. We're in the 4th frame of the second game, almost halfway. $1,000 to the winner, $500 to the runner-up. Going for 3. Didn't get the 10 pin out of there. Looked good for a minute.
Well, neither player seems to be able to carry that key shot that one will continue to string.
McCoy with the spares. Howard now tries to get it started again. Both boys were on their way to bonus money, getting 2, but stopping. Howard leaving the 5 on a shaker. McCoy losing a shaker, leaving the 10. There it is. Very satisfied with his effort.
Yes, he looks like he's jamming the ball all the way on 24.
Now, he's gone around here a couple of times, Bill. He carried the 5-7 in the first frame, came back in the third, had the identical hit leaving the 5. You think he might try to jam this one?
A little bit more effort at the release point.
There it
is. He did, too.
And it got up too much. I think George thought he had the line that time. The 4-7. That's life for McCoy. Oh, this is a close one. The margin has never been more than 7 pins either way, and we are almost halfway. Howard is now 89 in the 4th. On a spares, McCoy steps in. Howard with his double in the first 2 frames. This game actually got as far ahead as 13. But he lost that lead when McCoy came back with 2, and here we look at the baby split by Jerry McCoy.
Certain areas of the country, this is called a Murphy.
A Murphy.
And I've never heard that before. Just recently that I heard the baby split call that.
The ball between the 2 pins, and Mr. McCoy performs that test very beautifully. So at the end of 5 in the second game, things are very tight. For McCoy, it's 76 spare. For Howard, 89 spare. We're in the 6th frame. Second game, championship bowling from Akron, Ohio. The 7 pin. Boy, he gave that one a double nudge, Bill, but couldn't get it out of there.
That one must have felt good. Usually a bowler can tell when he lets the ball go whether he's got a good chance to carry it, and that must have felt real good.
cover for McCoy. It'll be Howard now in the sixth. 6-pin advantage. Howard out in front.
Fred, Georgie's been throwing what we call the frozen rope on 24. A straight ball right into the pocket. He's carried twice now. Let's see if he attempts it the third time.
He's got himself a pretty good line over here.
That's about as straight a rope as I've ever seen.
The margin is 7 pins. We go into the 7th frame of the second game in a close one. From Akron, Ohio, Championship Bowling, where you see the world's greatest professional bowlers in match game competition. You'll see them all over the weeks. Too high, breaks up to 6, 7, 10, and Georgie's just a little bit unhappy with that one. Yeah, he turned away from it. And Howard has his first open frame, picking the 6 off the 10, an open frame, and McCoy now will step up in the 7th frame with a chance to take the lead. Jerry McCoy, looks like he's still doing a little fishing, as we've mentioned, Bill.
Yes, it can't seem to coordinate the ball swing with the movement of the feet. And this, of course, is what timing means, and he's just a fraction off on his timing.
At the 4-pin. Jerry McCoy from Fort Worth, Texas, covers the spare. You know, arthritis is America's #1 crippling disease, with a toll of 250,000 victims a year in the United States alone. The Arthritis and Rheumatism Foundation urges you to contribute to combat this painful disease. We're in the 8th frame, match practically even. On the nose, again, leaving nothing but the 2-pin. And McCoy unable to find that pocket.
As you say, Fred, when you are fishing as a bowler, you're just hoping that you break down some of these splits and then find your game within a matter of frames.
McCoy with a cover in the 8th. The margin, only 3 pins. McCoy is out in front as George Howard moves in on the right side. George having some success here on the right side. He's had strikes in the 2nd, 4th, and 6th, all 3 times. In this game, he'll try it again in the 8th. He had 4 10-pins in the first game. Never. Well, there's a whole bucket full of them. The 1, 2, 4, 8. First time that Howard has missed a head pin.
Yes, he was way ahead of that shot. The ball was still back when his feet were up at the foul line.
Well, if he can cover the spare, he doesn't lose any count. Picking the 6 off the 10 and the 7th. The AMF spare maker indicating the ball crossing between the 1 and 2. Nice shot. This fella has won 3 PBA events. He won the Las Vegas Open, the Niagara Falls Open, the San Jose Open.
I remember that one in San Jose particularly. He had a strikeout to beat Vern Downing, and he did it.
We're in the 9th. 2, 4, 5. Howard not getting there. Well, that's going away on the outside, hitting the 2 and the 4. Howard picking up a couple of very difficult spare shots here in the 8th and 9th. As McCoy sitting on only 3 pins, $1,000 hanging in the balance here as the boys continue to battle the elements. The southpaw from Fort Worth, Texas. He's short. He has the bucket on the right side.
Fred, the mental anguish these boys have to go through when the game is not sharp, I think takes more out of them than the actual bowling itself. The act of rolling a ball is very simple, but when you're finished with a match like this, you're completely exhausted mentally.
Dropped it. Got away with it. Well, McCoy started with a split, the 4-6 in the first frame, came right back with a double, converted the 2-7 in the fifth. He's been filling them up. That's better. Gets that 10 pin out of there for his first strike in the 10th frame.
Well, rechecking the score, looks like a double has been the limit here for either one of the participants, but
Yeah, McCoy has 2 doubles. Howard has 1. Here's Jerry's second chance for the double. He can pull out 199, and that's what he had in the first game. Big turn. There it is. Well, that gives McCoy another 10 pins to go into the third and final game. Howard will have to get 2 to stay within 2 pins of his opponent. So 2 199s. We could have a triplicate coming up. I don't think McCoy would settle for a 199 game right now, Bill.
he was pleased with that last ball he delivered. Whoops.
Well, he misses the head pin again. He has the 1, the 3, the 6, and the 9. A 6-pin count for 195. Howard still can get 204. The first one doesn't get there. We look at another bucket. So we've had 2 of them here, Bill. One from the left side, one from the right side.
It just seems that the moment that George gives that ball just a little bit of angle out away from the target zone, the ball has a very little chance of coming back.
Got it. Lost it. Going away. So Howard has missed another spare here in the 10th frame, settling for 179. For McCoy, 195. Howard, 179. And the fishing continues, Bill.
Yes, it does. Of course, both boys are doing about the same thing. And although the scores aren't relatively high, it's an interesting match because of the closeness of the match. And each man's going through the same torture, I would say.
Let's ask Jerry. Jerry, from the left side, we notice you've left the cluster, the bucket, and George has 2 from the right side. Any reason?
Well, Fred, I'm having an awful lot of trouble keeping myself slower now.
You're rushing
I
on.
keep wanting to go a little harder, a little faster.
We could remind you each time, go slow, Jerry. That would
may
be
help.
How about you there, little one?
Ready, I had it for about 14, 15 frames. I thought I had a pretty good line on 24, and I still think I do. This last couple of pitches there have been a little off timing. But I'm more concerned about getting myself straight around on 23 than on 24.
All right, you have
just have the open there.
1 game to go, George, and it looks like a pretty close match for the $1,000, so hang on. The third and final game coming up on Championship Bowling from Akron, Ohio, where the World Series of Golf is played annually. It's Jerry McCoy from Fort Worth, Texas, a lead of 23 pins. Howard missing in the 10th frame of the second game. 23 pins, the big turn. And the action, leaving the 10. His pins seem to go sideways, Bill.
That's one of the hits that he usually carries, that little light scrambler.
Spare for McCoy in the first, and here's George Howard, 110 pounds, from Detroit, trailing by 23 pins. 394 for McCoy, 371 for Howard. we go again. Every time George goes for the double, he moves to the left side where he's been working so hard.
Right now, I'm sure he'd like to steal one, Fred. Or get the strike any old way he can right now.
Looks like he's moved a little to the right side. He's going a little outside, I believe. There it is. But no action. The ball just not finishing.
Well, that six-pin just fell dead into the right channel there.
So Howard now with a spare in the second is 20 spares. McCoy moves in the second frame, still hanging on to 23 pins. From Akron, Ohio, it's championship bowling. Each week you see two of the world's greatest professional bowlers in action. Over $70,000 in prizes. There's one of the great left-handers in the game. Between Jerry McCoy and Bill Allen, who you also will see on championship bowling. Allen from Orlando, California. The two greatest left-handers in the game, I would seem to think. Bill, don't you agree?
Yes, they are. They have two distinct styles, but both of them have done extremely well in the last 2 or 3 years.
Get it up there. This time he gets it out. So that's another 10 pins for McCoy. Let's take a good look at Howard in slow motion. There's another 10 pin for Howard.
Yes, this is a fair test. The pins are a real good test because a good hit will carry, and a hit that's not, in other words, too good will not.
Well, Howard had 4 10 pins the first game. This is his second 10 pin in the third game. There's the cover. Might talk a little about the bowling pins, Bill, that are used on championship bowling, all registered, tournament grade AMF pins. We could make it easier and put up some light ones. Looks like there's no justice. He gave that one all he had.
He gave that one quite an effort, Fred. He's appears to be building up a little steam inside, and he's taking it out on the spares. You notice the 2 10 pins he shot at, he just gave it a little extra effort. This is the way the boys have of letting go of that pent-up emotion.
Careful. Well, Howard with a spare. He started with a strike, then a 10 pin, another 10 pin, and a 4 pin. That looked pretty good, George. There's a 7 pin and a pretty good hit. Must be raining outside, Bill.
I thought that he released the last 4 balls beautifully, and he could very easily have had the string going there.
There's still room for bonus money. 5 strikes in a row in any one game. They'll start the bowler off at a $250 bonus, and some of the folks almost fell out of their seats here thinking that McCoy threw that one away. But the big turn and the application of some instinct there, I'm sure, Jerry realized that he was a little left with that one. He gave it the extra.
I heard one of the spectators go, ooh!
He strapped it. We're in the 5th. Never get there. The 1, the 3, and the 6, and there is life for George Howard. McCoy unable to get too far away. The AMF spare maker indicating the ball crosses the head pin, and very well done by Jerry McCoy. Covers the spare in the 5th. He is 86 spare. It's George Howard now in the 5th. And the margin, 34 pins, 5 frames to go. Back again. Well, here we go again. Bill, we're going left. And the bowlers, of course, that bowl in league play, crossing lanes, this is what you run into. At the end of 5, we had McCoy, 86 spare, Howard is 78 on a strike. The 6th frame, the final game for the double. No way. The 2-5.
Now, George moved his feet in almost 5 boards to the left, and he planned to give it room, I'm sure, but he overturned it just at the point of release.
With the cover in the 6th. He's 98 spare. He's only lost 2 pins in counts. McCoy has lost 4, but Jerry has the important double. The margin now of 31 pins. Howard has 4 frames to go. McCoy 5. Big turn. There it is. A strike for McCoy. Say, if you're a housewife, a student, or maybe a person who works odd hours, why don't you try bowling during the weekday, daytime hours at your nearby bowling establishment? Since the majority of workers are unable to bowl at this time, it's a great opportunity to take advantage of this relatively uncrowded hour. Make a date. Go bowling in the daytime. And if you're left-handed, maybe you can throw a strike like Jerry McCoy for the big double that puts him right where he wants to be for the $1,000. Still a possible 256. He has room for bonus money. No bonus money yet this week. In fact, the best we've had is a double. McCoy, 1 double the first game, 1 double the second game. This is his 2nd double in this game. And George not getting up there, even on his favorite side, leaving the 2 and the 4.
Sometimes, though, Fred, it may be a good sign, because he may now strike on 23 and maybe come back on 24 and continue a string and get some bonus money.
There's the cover for George Howard from Detroit. We're in the 8th frame. George Howard has only one way to go. He still has room for bonus money with this one, and a strike in the 9th, and 3 in the 10th. And he walks away. Walks home. But the ball will be right back. The 2-4-10. Well, show us the shot, George. One for the ladies. Almost. So Howard with another open. And Jerry McCoy, the southpaw from Fort Worth, Texas, in the 8th on 2. This will be the last chance for bonus money. He needs this one. 1 in the 9th, and his first one in the 10th. Here it comes. What pin was that, Bill?
It looked like probably the 5 or the 3. He was directly in my line, but Jerry was saying before the match started, in practice, he had not been able to get more than a double, and he was holding true it until that particular moment. It was a good ball, good mix, a little delayed action.
A little fruit salad, as they say. We're in the 9th on 3. Needs this one. 4-4. He's got it. So don't go away, folks. We have some bonus money coming up in the first try, actually, with McCoy on 4, still a potential 256. Can kick himself out of here beautifully with a 650 total. And that's coming back. Howard in the 9th. Well, he He's back in the pocket here on the right side, and here we go again. No, George, I'm afraid you'll have to go left. All competition sanctioned by the American Bowling Congress, of course, which means that all competition must be cross lanes. And that makes it just a little more difficult. Let's see if George can master something here. He's still inside. Big turn. And a 10-pin.
Oops. George loosened up a little bit there by asking you, Fred, if he could bowl out on lane number 24 rather than 23. And it showed up in the ball. It was a good ball. He just hasn't been able to carry.
You think possibly on the left side he has stayed on one line? He seems to be just a little deep on the right side. He's playing more from the corner.
Looks like he started out a little bit from the corner, but the ball wasn't coming up, so he decided to go inside a little bit. Sometimes the bowlers will do that. They'll move way out or way in to avoid a certain kind of track.
This is championship bowling from Akron, Ohio, where over the weeks you see them all the great professional stars: Don Carter, Billy G., Dick Weber, Ray Bluth, Harry Smith, Billy Whaley. There we are. He finally got a strike on the left side for 181. As Jerry McCoy now knows the importance of these strikes in the 10th frame, the first strike worth $250. He can go all the way, a good total, because he'll be making another appearance. Total pins for 6 games. For the $250, he dropped it and almost got away with it. Left the 3-pin.
Well, he almost carried that 3-pin from behind. That would have been a gift, as we call it, Fred. He didn't deliver that ball properly.
The full count here for Jerry McCoy, 235. Games of 199, 195, total of 394. 235 will give him 629. Howard, 552. There it is. Just one ball too late. And McCoy has missed bonus money. We'll be back for the presentations here on Championship Bowling from Akron, Ohio, the home of Firestone. Here are the final results for George Howard: 192, 179, 181. The total is 552. For McCoy, 199, 195, a nice finish of 235. The total, 629. Did you like this one, ladies and gentlemen? How did you like it, George?
Freddie, I tell you, I wish I could hit 23 just a little bit better, because I had a good line on 24 and I think a few more only one strike on 23, so you can't possibly score well when you can't hit the other eye.
Well, as Bill Bonetta was saying, we were looking for you to go to the outside a little sooner. You tried it a little late, but it seemed like it was too late.
I moved towards the outside, the one frame there, Freddie, and I threw the ball in the second game about the 4th frame that I thought was going to be solid, and it jumped a little high on me, and from then on I was a little leery of the alley, so I went back in.
You backed up. George, better luck the next time. You'll be making another appearance.
Thank you, Freddie.
And we're expecting big things from you.
I sure hope so.
For you, Jerry, your first experience here on Championship Bowling, not bad. $1,000. You take that back to Texas.
Yes.
Buy yourself a horse. No?
No.
Well, you're not a Texas cowboy. Somebody told me you're a Texas cowboy. Not true?
No.
Not true. Jerry, from the left side, do you find in your travels around the country, as a member of the PBA, you find it any tougher from over there than you think possibly the right-handers might have?
Well, I can't say that, Fred. It's been real nice to me.
Real nice to you. In other words, you don't believe the left side is tougher than the right side?
Well,
you and Bill Allen, I'm sure, don't agree, because you're doing very well from the left side. Good luck to both of you. See you again here on Championship Bowling. Ladies and gentlemen, 2 fine performers. George? Well, we hope you can join us again next week here at the Firestone Bowl-O-Rama. We're in Akron, Ohio. We'll have two more bowling's top professional stars in a three-game match. We're competing for a purse here of some $70,000. So speaking for Bill Burnett and myself, this is Fred Wolf. Keep 'em bowling out there. It's great fun. Matching shirts and slacks used on championship bowling by King Louie. Bowling is sanctioned by the American Bowling Congress, and we wish to thank AMF for their cooperation in helping us produce championship bowling.